The flash of cameras lit up State University's main quad as families celebrated around us, but all I could focus on was the weight of two envelopes in my parents' hands. Jennifer and I had just walked across that stage together. Identical caps, identical gowns, identical degrees. What came next wasn't identical at all. "Girls, we have surprises for you both," Dad Paul announced, his voice carrying that theatrical tone he used for big moments. Mom Gloria beamed beside him, her phone already recording. Jennifer opened hers first. Her scream could have shattered glass. "Oh my God, 3 weeks in Europe? Paris, Rome, Barcelona?" She waved the travel itinerary like a victory flag, tears streaming down her perfectly contoured cheeks. "This is literally my dream." Then it was my turn. I tore open the envelope with trembling fingers, expecting something equally magnificent. Inside sat a $10 gift card to the campus coffee shop and a handwritten note in Mom's careful script. "For our practical daughter, this will teach you to appreciate the small things in life." The silence stretched like a held breath. Jennifer's friends gasped. Someone's dad coughed awkwardly. I stood there, holding that plastic card, feeling smaller than I had since childhood. What they didn't know, what nobody knew, was that for the past 2 years, I'd been the one keeping our family's lights on. Every month, hundreds of dollars flowed from my freelance earnings straight into their accounts. They thought it was luck, good timing, maybe divine intervention. They had no idea their practical daughter was about to teach them the most expensive lesson of their lives. If this story resonates with you or you've experienced family favoritism, hit that like button and subscribe, because what happens next will shock you. The pattern started early. I remembered the 6th grade science fair like it was yesterday. The smell of poster board and markers, the buzz of excited parents crowding around displays. I'd spent weeks building a working model of a water filtration system, complete with multiple layers and a detailed explanation of how contaminated water became clean. It won second place. Jennifer had thrown together a volcano the night before, mixing baking soda and vinegar while I helped her paint the cardboard mountain. It didn't even erupt properly during the demonstration. But when Mom and Dad arrived, they spent 20 minutes photographing Jennifer's lopsided creation, praising her creativity and artistic vision. My filtration system? Dad glanced at it for maybe 30 seconds. "Very thorough, Lorine. You always were the detail-oriented one." That phrase became my identity. Detail-oriented, practical, useful. While Jennifer was charismatic, inspiring, and naturally gifted. By college, our roles had crystallized into something unbreakable. Jennifer was the family's social media star, posting perfectly curated photos of her sorority life, her internship at a boutique marketing firm, her weekend adventures. Her Instagram had 12,000 followers. Mom shared every single post. I was the family IT department. When Dad's laptop crashed during tax season, my phone rang. When Mom couldn't figure out why her email wasn't working, I got a panicked text. When Jennifer's phone storage was full and she couldn't post her latest selfie, guess who got the emergency FaceTime call at midnight? The family group chat told the whole story. I scrolled through months of messages. "Lorine, can you fix the Wi-Fi?" "Lorine, the printer isn't working again." "Lorine, Jennifer's laptop is making weird noises." Always requests, never thank yous. Meanwhile, every message about Jennifer was celebration. "Look at our social butterfly." "Jennifer's boss says she's promotion material." "So proud of our little influencer." "Jennifer just has that natural charisma," Dad would say whenever someone complimented her online presence. "Some people are born leaders." Mom's response to my achievements was always the same measured tone. "Lorine, you're so practical. That's useful. Useful." The word that defined my entire existence in that house. When I started freelancing web development during sophomore year, building sites for local businesses and pulling in serious money, Mom's reaction was predictable. "That's nice, honey. Very practical." When Jennifer got 50 likes on a photo of her coffee, It was screenshot and shared in the family chat with 3 heart eye emojis. I learned to celebrate my victories alone. The first time I earned $2,000 in a single month, I sat in my dorm room staring at the bank notification with nobody to call. Jennifer's latest post about her amazing latte art had gotten 300 likes and a comment from Mom, my talented daughter. The irony wasn't lost on me. I was building actual businesses, creating real value, solving complex problems. Jennifer was taking pictures of food, but in the Morgan family hierarchy, aesthetics trumped achievement every single time. I just didn't realize yet how expensive that hierarchy was about to become. By junior year, my freelance business had exploded beyond anything I'd imagined. What started as building simple websites for local coffee shops had evolved into comprehensive digital solutions for mid-sized companies. I was designing e-commerce platforms, creating custom databases, building mobile apps that actually solved real problems. My bank account reflected the growth. Some months I was pulling in $3,000, others closer to $5,000. The work energized me in ways nothing else did. Late nights coding felt like meditation, each solved problem a small victory. While Jennifer posted about her internship serving lattes and learning the business, I was actually running one. My client testimonials spoke of increased sales, streamlined operations, problem solved. Real impact, measurable results. But success felt hollow when you had nobody to share it with. My family's group chat remained the same endless stream of tech support requests and Jennifer worship. When I mentioned landing a major contract with a regional restaurant chain, Mom's response was, "That's wonderful, dear. Can you look at the kitchen tablet? It's acting up again." Everything changed during spring break of my senior year. I was home for a few days, catching up on client work in my childhood bedroom, when I overheard Dad on the phone in his study. His voice carried that strained quality I'd never heard before. Panic barely held in check. "The bank is threatening foreclosure. I don't know what we'll do," he was saying. "The construction business just isn't recovering like we hoped. We're 3 months behind on the mortgage, and Gloria's part-time income isn't enough to cover the gap." I pressed my ear to the wall, my heart hammering. Our house, the 4-bedroom colonial with the wraparound porch where I'd grown up, was in jeopardy? How had things gotten so bad without me knowing? "We can't tell the girls," Dad continued. "Jennifer's got enough stress with graduation coming up, and Lorine, well, she's got her own life to worry about." That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about Jennifer's Europe trip fund that Mom had mentioned months ago. The new car they'd promised her for graduation, the way they talked about her future like it was guaranteed golden. Meanwhile, they were drowning in debt. I opened my laptop and stared at my business checking account. $43,000. Money I'd earned building solutions, creating value, working while my classmates partied. Money that could solve their problem completely. The first transfer was $800, enough to cover their electric bill that I'd seen marked final notice on the kitchen counter. I labeled it family support, LM, and told myself it was temporary, just until Dad's business recovered. But recovery never came. Each month brought new crises. The water heater died, $900. Property taxes came due, $1,500. The mortgage payment kept getting later and later until I was essentially covering it entirely. $1,200 every month like clockwork. I became a ghost in their financial life. Invisible but essential. They never asked where the money was coming from when bills suddenly got paid. They assumed Dad's business had turned around, or maybe Gloria had gotten a raise. Or perhaps it was just good fortune smiling down on the Morgan family. The bank statements told a different story. Month after month, transfers flowing from my account to theirs. Family support, LM. $800 here, $1,200 there, sometimes more when emergencies hit. Over 2 years, I calculated I'd transferred nearly $23,000. $23,000 of my own earned money, keeping their house, their lifestyle, their dreams afloat. While they planned Jennifer's European adventure and talked about her bright future, I was quietly ensuring they had a future at all. I told myself it was love. That family meant sacrifice. That maybe if I proved how much I cared, how reliable I was, how much I could provide, they'd finally see me the way they saw Jennifer. I opened my laptop and made another transfer, thinking love could be earned through sacrifice. What I didn't realize was that my generosity was about to become their expectation, and my silence would become my prison. The graduation dinner at Romano's felt like a coronation ceremony for Jennifer. The entire extended family had gathered around the large corner table, aunts and uncles and cousins all raising glasses to toast our girls. But the spotlight had a very specific focus. To Jennifer, Uncle Mike announced, for landing that marketing position and earning this incredible European adventure. The table erupted in applause. Jennifer glowed, describing her itinerary in breathless detail. 3 weeks, 6 countries, and I'll be documenting everything for my travel blog. This could really launch my influencer career. Jennifer deserves this trip. Mom Gloria beamed, her phone capturing every moment. She's worked so hard on her social media brand. 20,000 followers don't just happen overnight. I sat there cutting my chicken parmesan into smaller and smaller pieces, watching my family celebrate the girl who posted pictures while ignoring the one who paid their bills. When Aunt Sarah asked about my post-graduation plans, Dad jumped in before I could answer. Lorine's got some computer thing lined up. Very practical, very stable. She's always been our little problem solver. Problem solver. Not daughter. Not success story. Just the family's technical support department with a college degree. Later that night, I sat on my childhood bed surrounded by boxes of belongings I'd soon move to my new apartment. The house felt different now. Not like home, but like a place I'd been renting emotional space in for 22 years. I pulled out my laptop and opened the banking app, scrolling through 2 years of transfers. $23,467, nearly half my total earnings, flowing silently into their accounts while they planned Jennifer's dream vacation. The math was brutal in its clarity. I realized I wasn't their daughter. I was their silent investor, funding a lifestyle that celebrated everyone but me. My finger hovered over the recurring payment settings. For 2 years, I'd automated their survival, transferring $1,200 every month like clockwork. The next payment was scheduled for tomorrow. I took a screenshot of the final transfer. Last payment, LM. Then clicked into the settings. The cursor blinked next to Cancel Recurring Payment. 1 click. That's all it would take to stop being their invisible safety net. I thought about Jennifer's Europe fund, about the new car they'd promised her, about 20,000 Instagram followers celebrating her hard work. Then I thought about my own bank statements, my own dreams deferred, my own achievements dismissed as practical. I clicked Cancel Recurring Payment and felt something I hadn't felt in years, the terrifying freedom of putting myself first. Have you ever been the family member who gives everything but gets nothing in return? Let me know in the comments. 3 weeks into my new apartment lease, Dad's call came at 7 in the morning. His voice carried that familiar panic I'd heard through the study wall 2 years ago, but sharper now, more desperate. Lorine, we need to talk. The mortgage payment bounced. The bank is asking questions about our payment history, and frankly, I don't understand what's happening. We've been so consistent for the past 2 years, and now suddenly... I set down my coffee, watching steam rise from the mug I'd bought with my own money. In my own kitchen. In my own space. What do you mean, Dad? The automatic payment failed. The bank says there's insufficient funds, but that doesn't make sense. We've had the same payment schedule for months. Can you come over? We need your help figuring this out. Your help. Even now, facing financial crisis, I was still just the family problem solver. An hour later, I sat across from Mom and Dad at their kitchen table, the same table where they'd celebrated Jennifer's Europe trip while handing me a $10 gift card. Jennifer was conspicuously absent, probably at her new marketing job, blissfully unaware that the house she grew up in was about to become someone else's problem. So what happened with the payment? Dad asked, pulling up bank statements on his laptop. Everything was working fine, and then just nothing. I reached into my bag and pulled out a manila folder. Inside were 2 years of printed bank statements, every transfer highlighted in yellow, every family support LM notation circled in red ink. I spread them across the table like evidence in a courtroom. The payments stopped because I stopped making them, I said quietly. The silence stretched long enough for the kitchen clock to tick 5 times. Dad's face went through several expressions: confusion, recognition, disbelief, then something that looked like panic. What do you mean you stopped making them? Mom's voice was barely a whisper. I mean, for the past 2 years, I've been paying your mortgage. $1,200 a month plus utilities plus emergencies. $23,467 total. I pointed to the highlighted numbers. Every payment you thought was coming from Dad's business recovery? That was me. Dad's face flushed red. You can't just abandon your family. We raised you. You have responsibilities here. The word responsibilities hit like a slap. I looked at him steadily, feeling calmer than I had in years. You raised me to be invisible. I paid $23,000 to keep this house, and you gave Jennifer a vacation to Europe. I think my responsibilities are pretty clear now. Mom started crying, but they weren't tears of gratitude. They were tears of panic, of a lifestyle about to crumble, of consequences finally arriving at the door. 2 days after the kitchen table confrontation, I met my college friend Brenda for coffee at our usual spot downtown. I'd been carrying the weight of the family drama alone, and I desperately needed someone to talk to who wasn't emotionally invested in the Morgan family dynamics. You look exhausted, Brenda said, sliding into the booth across from me. Everything okay? I pulled out my phone to show her a text from Mom, another guilt-laden message about family loyalty, but accidentally opened my banking app instead. The screen displayed my recent transfers, all those highlighted family support LM entries still visible from when I'd prepared the evidence folder. Brenda's eyes widened. Wait, what is that? Are those mortgage payments? I tried to close the app, but she'd already seen too much. The whole story spilled out. 2 years of secret payments, the graduation gift disparity, the family meeting, everything. Brenda listened with growing disbelief, occasionally muttering things like, "Are you kidding me?" and $23,000? Lorine, this is insane, she said finally. You basically kept their house while they treated you like tech support. People need to know about this. No, Brenda, please, it's family business. But Brenda was already processing the implications. She worked at the local community center, knew half the town through various volunteer committees. More importantly, she knew my parents through church functions and community events where they'd spent years presenting their picture-perfect family image. Within 48 hours, the story had spread through our small town social networks like wildfire. Brenda had mentioned it to her sister, who told her book club, who shared it with their neighbors. The details got more dramatic with each retelling, but the core facts remained shocking. The Morgan family's successful daughter had been secretly funding their lifestyle while they celebrated her twin sister. The exposure reached critical mass when Mrs. Henderson from Mom's Garden Club called to check in about the family's financial situation. Then came a call from Dad's golf buddy asking if it was true that I'd been supporting the family business. By Thursday, even the mailman was giving Dad sympathetic looks. The most devastating call came Friday morning. Tyler Morrison, the loan officer at First National Bank, requested a meeting with Dad to discuss their mortgage modification application. Mr. Morgan, we've reviewed your payment history, and frankly, we're concerned, Tyler explained during the phone call I overheard from the kitchen. Without those monthly deposits from Lorine, your actual payment history shows significant gaps. The inconsistency makes you a high-risk borrower. She's our daughter, Dad's voice cracked with desperation. Surely family support counts for something. Family support that's been withdrawn, sir. We need to see 2 years of consistent income from your household alone. Based on current documentation, we're denying the modification request. The letter arrived the next day, official bank letterhead spelling out their doom in corporate language. Inconsistent payment history, insufficient documented income, loan modification denied. Their perfect facade hadn't just cracked. It had shattered completely, and everyone in town was watching the pieces fall. The foreclosure notice appeared on their front door like a scarlet letter, impossible to ignore. Within 6 weeks of my last payment, the legal proceedings had begun. Dad's construction business, already struggling, couldn't absorb the sudden mortgage burden. Mom's part-time bookkeeping job barely covered groceries, let alone a $1,200 monthly payment. I drove past the house one evening and saw the for sale sign planted in the front yard where Mom's prized rose bushes used to bloom. The wraparound porch looked smaller somehow, less impressive without the illusion of financial stability propping it up. They found a 2-bedroom apartment across town, the kind of place they used to drive past with subtle disdain. No more dinner parties, no more hosting extended family gatherings, no more backdrop for Jennifer's perfectly curated Instagram posts. The Morgan family brand had been downsized to match their actual means. Meanwhile, my business was exploding in the opposite direction. Word of mouth from satisfied clients had created a waiting list for my services. The restaurant chain project had led to 3 more corporate contracts, each one larger than the last. I'd incorporated as Meridian Web Solutions and hired 2 part-time developers to handle the overflow. The breakthrough came when a regional healthcare network offered me a $15,000 contract to overhaul their patient portal system. $15,000, more than I'd ever made on a single project, enough to cover an entire year of their old mortgage payments. I signed the contract in my new office space, a converted warehouse with exposed brick walls and floor-to-ceiling windows that flooded the space with natural light. The irony wasn't lost on me. While my family's world contracted, mine expanded. While they faced the consequences of financial dependence, I was building something sustainable and entirely my own. Jennifer's Europe trip became the first casualty of their new reality. The travel fund that Mom and Dad had been building for months evaporated overnight, redirected toward security deposits and moving expenses. When Jennifer called me, her voice was raw with fury and tears. "You destroyed our family over money. How could you be so selfish?" She screamed into the phone. "Do you know what you've done? Mom cries every night. Dad can barely look at anyone. And my trip, my dream trip, is gone because of your petty revenge." I sat in my office chair, looking out at the city skyline, feeling calmer than I had in years. "I didn't destroy anything, Jennifer. I just stopped building it alone." "You were supposed to help us. That's what family does." "Family goes both ways," I said quietly. "I helped for 2 years. I paid $23,000 while you got celebrated for posting pictures. When did you ever help me?" The silence stretched long enough for me to hear her breathing change, the anger shifting into something that might have been recognition. "I didn't know," she whispered finally. "You didn't want to know. None of you did. It was easier to believe in miracles than to see what I was sacrificing." She hung up without another word. That night, I looked at my business incorporation papers framed on the office wall next to my first major contract. Meridian Web Solutions, a company built on my skills, my vision, my relentless work ethic. Everything my family had dismissed as practical had become the foundation of something they could never take away from me. The Morgan family had lost their house, but I had found my home in the life I'd built entirely on my own terms. If you think Lorine did the right thing, or if you think she went too far, let me know your thoughts below. 6 months later, Mom's text arrived on a Tuesday morning while I was reviewing proposals for a new municipal website project. The message was longer than her usual requests for tech support, and the tone was completely different. "Lorine, I've been thinking about everything that happened. I see now how we used you. I'm sorry we made you feel invisible. You were never just practical to me. You were essential. I just didn't know how to show it without taking advantage of your kindness. I don't expect forgiveness, but I needed you to know that I finally understand what we lost." I stared at the message for a long time, sitting in my office with morning sunlight streaming across my desk. No requests for help, no guilt trips, no manipulation. Just accountability, raw and honest. My response came slowly, each word carefully chosen. "I forgive you, Mom, but forgiveness doesn't mean returning to old patterns. I love our family, but I love myself too now." She replied immediately, "I wouldn't want you to go back. You've built something beautiful, and we should have celebrated that instead of taking it for granted. I'm proud of who you've become. We text occasionally now. Real conversations about my business, her new job at the library, Jennifer's struggles with adjusting to a smaller life. The relationship feels different, more honest, built on respect rather than utility. Dad still struggles with the change, but he's learning. Jennifer and I had coffee last month, and for the first time, she asked about my work instead of talking about herself. The Morgan family learned an expensive lesson about value. Not just financial, but human. Sometimes the greatest gift you can give your family is teaching them to value what they've taken for granted, even if it means walking away first. I'm no longer their invisible safety net. I'm their daughter, finally seen.